In the heart of the bustling city of Bantekora, nestled in the rolling hills of Africa, lived a young woman named Mankaa. At 23, Mankaa's life was a tangled web of hardship and endurance. She resided with her stepmother, Mama Jeto, and her three stepsisters, Acho, the eldest at 33, Sona, 30, and Tanga, 27. The household was a blend of noise, contempt, and constant belittlement directed at Mankaa. Mama Jeto, a woman embittered by jealousy and grief, harbored deep resentment towards Mankaa. She blamed Mankaa's mother for stealing her husband, and even after the tragic deaths of both Mankaa's father and her mother, Mama Jeto's hatred did not wane. Instead, it intensified, finding expression in her relentless mistreatment of Mankaa. The three stepsisters followed their mother's lead, tormenting Mankaa at every opportunity. Life in Mama Jeto's household was a cruel dance of servitude for Mankaa. From dawn till dusk, she toiled under the watchful eyes of her stepmother and stepsisters. The chores were endless, and the rewards were meager scraps of food and a corner to sleep in. The only beacon of kindness in this bleak existence was Jeto, her stepbrother, a gentle soul who did what he could to ease her burdens. Despite his efforts, Jeto was powerless against his mother and sisters. They were determined to make Mankaa's life miserable, and his subtle acts of kindness often went unnoticed or, worse, punished. Still, Jeto persisted, giving Mankaa strength through his quiet support and occasional words of encouragement. Mama Jeto's household was known in the community for its discord. Many men had come seeking the hands of the stepsisters in marriage, but they were always turned away, either by the sisters themselves or by Mama Jeto. They sought only wealthy suitors, men who could elevate their social status and fill their coffers with gold. Mankaa, in contrast, was seen as the household drudge, unworthy of attention or affection. She was a ghost in her own home, visible only when there was work to be done or blame to be assigned. Her dreams of a better life were buried beneath layers of dust and despair, her spirit worn thin by years of maltreatment. One day, while Mankaa was sent to the market to fetch groceries, she encountered a beggar named Okonji. He was a young man, not much older than herself, with a kind smile and eyes that held stories of hardship and hope. Despite his ragged clothes and rough appearance, there was something about Okonji that drew Mankaa to him. Every time her stepmother and stepsisters gave her the meager remnants of their meals, Mankaa would share with Okonji. They formed a bond over these small acts of kindness, and Okonji became a rare source of joy in Mankaa's bleak world. He would often ask her why she helped him, and she would tell him of her life, of her struggles, and her dreams of finding a friend who understood her pain. As the days turned into weeks, their bond grew stronger. Okonji found a job helping travelers load their bags onto buses at the market, earning a small but steady income. He became a constant presence in Mankaa's life, offering her solace and companionship. One day, as they sat together sharing a piece of bread, Okonji turned to Mankaa with a serious expression. "Mankaa, will you marry me?" he asked, his voice steady and sincere. Mankaa was taken aback. The thought of marriage had always seemed like a distant dream, an impossibility given her circumstances. But looking into Okonji's eyes, she saw a future that was different from her past. Yet, fear gnawed at her heart. She knew Mama Jeto and her stepsisters would never approve. But love, true and honest, has a way of forging paths where there seemed to be none. Taking a deep breath, Mankaa nodded. "Yes, Okonji, I will marry you," she said, her voice trembling with both fear and hope. The next step was to seek Mama Jeto's permission. Okonji, determined to do things the right way, accompanied Mankaa to her home. They were met with derisive laughter and scorn. Mama Jeto and the stepsisters mocked their shabby clothes and humble appearances. When Okonji explained his intention, Mama Jeto saw an opportunity to rid herself of Mankaa once and for all. "Very well," Mama Jeto said with a malicious smile. "You may marry her. Take her away and never come back unless you have money to fulfill the traditional rites." With that, Mankaa and Okonji left, their hearts filled with a mix of fear and excitement. Little did they know, their journey was only just beginning, and fate had many surprises in store for them. Mankaa and Akonji's life together began humbly. They moved into a small, one-room dwelling at the edge of the city. Akonji continued working at the market, and Mankaa found work as a seamstress, using the skills her mother had taught her before her untimely death. They had little, but their love for each other provided a richness that no amount of gold could buy. Their days were filled with hard work, but also with moments of shared joy and laughter. Akonji would tell Mankaa stories of his travels and the people he met at the market. In return, Mankaa would share her dreams of a better future, one where they could live free from fear and hardship. Despite the love and support they shared, life was not easy. They often went to bed hungry, and their small room offered little comfort against the chill of the night. But Akonji's optimism was unwavering. "We have each other," he would say, "and that is more than many can say." One evening, after a particularly long day, Akonji returned home with a broad smile. "Mankaa, I have good news," he said, his eyes shining with excitement. "I've been offered a permanent job at the market. It means more money and more stability for us." Mankaa's heart swelled with happiness. "That's wonderful, Akonji," she exclaimed, throwing her arms around him. "This is the start of something better, I just know it." As the weeks passed, their situation began to improve. Akonji's new job provided them with a steadier income, and Mankaa's seamstress work was gaining recognition in the community. People admired her skill and attention to detail, and she started receiving more orders for her handmade garments. One day, a wealthy merchant's wife named Nandi visited Mankaa's small shop. "I've heard of your work," she said, looking around at the neatly stitched dresses and tunics. "I need a dress for a special occasion. Can you make something unique for me?" Mankaa nodded, eager to prove herself. "Of course, madam. I will create something beautiful for you." The dress Mankaa made for Nandi was a masterpiece. It was a deep blue gown adorned with intricate beadwork and embroidery. When Nandi saw it, she was overjoyed. "This is perfect," she said, handing Mankaa a generous payment. "You have a true gift." Word of Mankaa's talent spread, and soon she had more customers than she could handle. The little shop became a beacon of hope and prosperity in their lives. Akonji, too, was thriving in his new job, gaining the respect of his employers and colleagues. Despite their growing success, Mankaa never forgot her past. She continued to share their meals with the beggars at the market, remembering the kindness Akonji had shown her when they first met. Her compassion and generosity earned her the love and respect of the community. But not everyone was happy with Mankaa and Akonji's newfound success. Mama Jeto and the stepsisters, seeing their progress, were consumed with jealousy and spite. They had expected Mankaa to suffer and fail, but instead, she was flourishing. As the months went by, Mankaa and Akonji's life continued to improve. They moved into a slightly larger house, one with enough room for Mankaa to set up a proper workspace for her sewing. Their lives were a testament to the power of perseverance and love. One crisp morning, as Mankaa sat in her workshop stitching a vibrant dress, she heard a soft knock on the door. Wiping her hands on her apron, she opened it to find Akonji standing there with a serious expression. "Akonji, is everything all right?" Mankaa asked, concern evident in her voice. Akonji took her hands in his. "Mankaa, I need to talk to you about something important," he said, his voice steady. "I've been offered a position managing a company in a neighboring city. It's a huge opportunity, but it means we would have to move." Mankaa's heart skipped a beat. The idea of leaving behind the life they had built was daunting, but she knew how much this meant to Akonji. "This is wonderful news, Akonji," she said, smiling despite the uncertainty she felt. "We can start a new chapter together." Akonji's face lit up with relief. "Thank you, Mankaa. I couldn't do this without your support." "But there's something else," he added, hesitating slightly. I want to go back to your family and formally ask for your hand in marriage. Mankaa felt a mix of joy and apprehension. She knew that confronting Mama Jato and her stepsisters would be challenging, but she also knew that Akonji's love gave her the strength to face any obstacle. Let's do it, she said, squeezing his hands. Together, they made the journey back to Mama Jato's house, their hearts pounding with anticipation. As they approached the familiar, yet hostile home, memories of past suffering and maltreatment surged in Mankaa's mind. But she was determined to stand firm. Mama Jato greeted them with a cold, scrutinizing gaze. "What do you want?" she demanded, her voice sharp. Akonji stepped forward, his posture respectful yet resolute. "Mama Jato, I have come to formally ask for Mankaa's hand in marriage. We love each other deeply, and I wish to make her my wife." A smirk curled on Mama Jato's lips. "And what can you offer her? You, a mere porter." Akonji took a deep breath, maintaining his composure. "I may not have much now, but I have been offered a managerial position at a company in a neighboring city. I promise to provide for Mankaa and give her the life she deserves." Mama Jato's eyes narrowed, sensing an opportunity. "Very well," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "You may take her, but only if you can return with enough money to fulfill all the traditional marriage rites. Until then, she remains with us." Mankaa's heart sank, but Akonji squeezed her hand reassuringly. "We will return, Mama Jato," he said firmly. "And when we do, it will be with everything required." They left the house with a mixture of relief and determination. As they walked back to their home, Mankaa looked up at Akonji, her eyes filled with gratitude and love. "Thank you, Akonji," she said softly, "for believing in us." Akonji smiled, his eyes shining with conviction. "We will overcome this, Mankaa. Together, we can achieve anything." Back in their home, Mankaa and Akonji threw themselves into their work with renewed vigor. Akonji's new position required him to relocate immediately, so he left for the neighboring city, promising to return as soon as he could to fulfill their plans. Mankaa, though saddened by his absence, was determined to do her part. Her seamstress business flourished, and she saved every coin she earned, determined to meet Mama Jato's demands. The days were long and tiring, but Mankaa's spirit was unyielding. She knew that every stitch brought her closer to her dreams. In the neighboring city, Akonji excelled in his new role. His hard work and dedication impressed his employers, and he quickly rose through the ranks. One evening, as Mankaa was closing up her shop, she was approached by Nondi, the wealthy merchant's wife. "Mankaa, I have an important commission for you," Nondi said, her eyes twinkling with excitement. "I need a dress for my daughter's wedding. It must be the most beautiful dress anyone has ever seen." Mankaa's heart soared. This was the opportunity she had been waiting for. "I will make it perfect, Madam Nondi," she promised, her voice filled with determination. Days turned into nights as Mankaa poured her heart and soul into creating the wedding dress. She worked tirelessly, her fingers dancing over the fabric, her mind focused on every detail. When the dress was finally completed, it was a masterpiece of craftsmanship and beauty. Nondi was overjoyed when she saw the dress. "This is beyond my wildest dreams, Mankaa," she said, tears of happiness in her eyes. "You have truly outdone yourself." The generous payment from Nondi's commission was enough to meet Mama Jato's demands. With a heart full of hope, Mankaa wrote to Akonji, sharing the good news. "We have done it, Akonji," she wrote. "We have enough to fulfill the marriage rites. Please come home soon." Akonji returned as soon as he could, his eyes shining with pride and love. "You have worked so hard, Mankaa," he said, holding her close. "Now, it's time for us to claim our happiness." Together, they returned to Mama Jato's house, this time with confidence and a sense of triumph. Mama Jato, though clearly displeased, could not deny the fulfillment of her demands. Begrudgingly, she granted her permission for the marriage. Mankaa and Akonji's wedding was a simple yet beautiful affair, attended by the friends they had made in their journey. As they exchanged vows, they knew that their love had triumphed over adversity. They had proven that with determination, kindness, and unwavering support, even the darkest shadows could be dispelled by the light of true love.